All right, I'm going to teach this class a bit differently to how I've taught it in the past. I'll still have the slides that I've used in past open house tutorials, but I'll give a little bit more of a sort of a hands-on feel of how my open houses have gone and how I've been able to convert open houses into further listings and further buyers. We'll pick the buyers up and move them on to another home. So it's a full 2-week program. It does just continually flow 1 week after another. And around the open houses, there's so much business to be picked up because these people are coming into your open house with idea of purchasing a home. So they're much better than a cold lead, that's for sure. Now that I've gone to this, here we go. Okay, so the main thing with command and using the command through the open house is the old school was work harder. Sort of the more hours you put in, the more you got out. Today, it's to work smarter. So it's sort of a new school thinking, and it's in alignment with Gary Keller with being a tech-enabled agent. And you'll see where I do rely a fair bit on the computer. Obviously, the going on from what Greg said, there's 3 types of lead generation last week. And in an open house, it really is your personality that you're really selling and your knowledge. So with that in hand, using the computer to back you up, all of a sudden, definitely assists in showing that you are the local expert for the buyer. Okay, so I did with my 135 goals, priorities, and strategies. Obviously, the goal is to make dollars. I have my 3 priorities through open houses, farming, and branding. Now, these all go hand in hand. When you do open houses, you're farming an area and you're also putting your brand in the area as well. I'll show you how I do that further on. So why do we actually have open houses? First one is to sell the actual open house that you're actually holding. And when you're doing the open houses for other agents, you definitely want to do that because you want to build up a good rapport with them that allows you to, they call you when they want you to do an open house, or they want someone to do an open house. You become their expert open house realtor. Number 2, when you're in the open house, it's to generate leads for listings. You can easily do this. What you'll see is I actually do a walkabout of the neighborhood, usually the Thursday before it goes live on the Saturday. And I hand out a brochure. I'll give an example of that later on. And all of a sudden then you know that if you get any neighbors that come in from the brochures, the flyers that you're putting in people's door handles, they must probably interviewing you because they don't know a realtor, or because you're the local expert, they want to deal with you. So the third one is lead generation for buyers. Obviously, anyone that comes in has got money in their pockets and looking or thinking about buying. So you want to build up rapport with them, that they will know that you are the #1 person to use as a buyer agent. And the 4th one is just in general to build your database, especially with command now that you can do newsletters. Yeah, you want to get that brand with your newsletter out there, and the more emails you get, the more you send it out to people, the bigger your brand becomes. So you really are, it's all encompassing when you do this. And there are more smart plans coming out all the time in command from other agents all around America. You go in there, you go to the KW library, and you pick up a lot of smart plans that you can use to, as I say, the most recent one is now we can put newsletters, and the more emails you have, the more your brand gets exposed. Okay, so as discussed before, it is a 2-week endless program, and you want to show that you're the professional, that you're the local real estate specialist. You're the professional in that area. When it comes to attendees, 70% of buyers and sellers hire the first agent that they meet. So getting back to it, when they come in and they're a local person, there's more than likely that they're wanting to pick your brain and to see how good you are. And if you can sell yourself to be that local specialist, wow, you are 70% chance of being that first agent. Now, 80% of open house guests are truly not properly represented. This does encompass the idea of people having signed buyer's agreements, especially in the market that we're in at the moment. If you can convince a buyer that you are the specialist in getting people into contract, they're going to be willing to work with you. And so you've got that 15 minutes, 20 minutes in front of them to sell yourself and also to sell the home. So in doing that, you want to show that you are the professional and you can add value to their buying or selling experience. So with this whole system, there's it is a 3-point plan. You have to be willing to follow the system and the processes. And then the third part is the follow-up strategy. I'm forever changing it. I have changed a couple of slides here. I find that new techniques, new strategies, when I talk to other agents, I find out what they're doing. I'm on Facebook group pages with them. They ask questions and you have a look at it. So I'm forever changing mine. Okay, now to give you an idea of what my success, my first year in real estate is from Delaney's to Sullivan. You can see here that every deal I've done, what did it cost me in money terms in lead generation? 2 signs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 open house connections. 1, I met a gentleman at a bar in a restaurant, and yeah, it's the good thing about open houses is the cost. As opposed to buying Zillow leads and buying Boomtown leads and everything that can cost thousands of dollars. Open house is just your time and your willingness to follow the system. So as a new agent, excuse me, as a new agent, it's the easiest way to get in and get your feet dirty without any great cost. So that's the first year. Second year, yeah, we started using Boomtowns. I got a referral. We did a golden letter. So you can still see that open houses are a prime part of my lead generation. And so as a result, I feel as though when I get up at 8 a.m. on a Saturday and Sunday, I hit the computer straight away. I find out everything about the area and I want to be that local expert. So that's to give you an idea of this, how I've had my success, especially for new agents. As I say, the cost of them is incredibly cheap. Okay, so being on a team is a great benefit. And we really do work selling our homes through open houses. A couple of years ago, I was doing 4 open houses a week. 11 to 1 and 2 to 4, both Saturday and Sunday. I was always wanting to put myself out there as much as possible. So in doing that, on week 1 on the Monday, you assign the open houses for the following weekend. The main reason to do this is it is a whole week in preparation. And I find that the earlier you advertise your open houses, the greater success they're going to have with attending. And people, when they start looking at homes, they start planning their open house tour early in the week, and you're getting your name out there. Once again, you're showing how strongly prepared you are. So On the Tuesday, you confirm the open houses. You send an open house questionnaire. This is our questionnaire sheet that we have. If you're doing it for someone else, yeah, you just say any of this information will definitely be assisting me in the open house and me selling your house for you. So I never have many problems at all with agents, other agents filling this out for me. I also call the FISBOs and expireds around the open house and try and make an appointment, because that way you're building up your knowledge, your inventory of homes similar to the one that you're doing the open house for. And I'll get into that a little bit further, how that does assist. And then also check out the other open houses that are posted in the MLS, and double check that yours is posted in the MLS. Unfortunately, luckily it's only happened once. I was in an open house, and halfway through it on the Saturday, I'm going, wow, I thought I would have got some people in here. I went on to the MLS and it'd been forgotten to be put up on the MLS. So you don't want your time to be wasted. Accidents do happen. You learn and you live. So that's why I do put that in there, that to check that it's been posted in the MLS. And then also the riders in the sign in the front yard. I get them out there as early as possible in the week as well. Okay, what we do is we produce a two-sided flyer that's easily to do through command. If I'm doing an open house on a Wednesday or Thursday, during summer, I will do them 5 till 7, and during winter I do them 4 till 6. Obviously with the daylight and everything being of a necessity there. And so then on the Wednesday, I do the door knock, and I even set Thursday appointments to view homes for the weekend. Because once again, if I'm doing an open house and someone comes in and they don't like the open house, they don't like that house for 1 or 2 reasons, I want to be their point of call immediately to get them into another home that can assist. For example, I did an open house for another agent in Buckingham Place, Wedgwood. And it was a beautiful lot. Home needed a lot of work done inside. For the whole 2 hours, I only got one person come through, and it was at the very end. And they were a bit standoffish talking to me. At the very end, I welcomed them for showing that, for coming through the home, and what were their thoughts, and what did they like about it, and what didn't they like about it. And in that discussion, they really said that they wanted the yard was number 1, and they wanted to be in Wedgwood. Well, on our office exclusives, I always look at that before I go to an open house, because that's a great talking point whilst you're in front of people, because you're the only one that can share that. A Keller Williams consultants agent is the only one that can share it. You can show it. You're the only one that can show it. And you're the only one that can write an offer on it, because it's an office exclusive before it goes on the MLS. So that's a great little point to talk to them, because not many buyers know that. And then at the same time, when you're in one of the biggest market, well, almost 300 agents, I do say we are the biggest in numbers for agents, that I'm not only representing them, I've got 299 agents that I can call on and hopefully get them into a home as an office exclusive before it goes to the MLS. So that's what actually happened at Buckingham. The gentleman, the couple turned around to me and said, yeah, the yard is everything that I really like. We want to be in Wedgwood, and we want to stay in that school area. And I said, okay. I said, I think I've got a home for you. Is there like do you mind if it's got a stream going through? Oh no, we definitely like the stream and everything like that. So I was able to describe this property that was an office exclusive, and they said, oh, what's the address? And I don't like to give the addresses out at that point. I always turn around to them and say, what time is suitable for you this afternoon? I'd like to make the appointment first before I pass on the address. I hope you understand that I work hard for my inventory and I'd really like to get you in. And I rarely have anyone turn me down on that, because they understand that us as realtors, we want to do the showing, we want to take the person through, and we want to show that we are the expert. So I made the appointment, got back to them, shared the address with them. They met me there at 6 o'clock that afternoon. I showed them the home. They absolutely loved the home. They loved the lot. They loved everything about it, except there's one road there in Wedgwood that comes on to Riverside that doesn't have a set of lights. So it's the next one up. Hawthorne Parade, I'm pretty sure it is. The next one up from Stratford. So they said, we'll have to have a look at that. And I turned around to them. I said, look, guys, I totally understand that. I said, but what you've got to think about is there are big gaps in the traffic, because you've got a set of lights just down the road and you've got a set of lights up the road. So you just take your time and you patiently get out there. And so they turned around, they said, okay, we'll have a look at that and we'll let you know tonight, Ash, because yeah, I think you understand we really do like the home and the price point is great for us. So I got a phone call back from them that night and they said, look, Ash, no, that road, we've got a young daughter. She'll be getting a license soon. We really would like to be in the middle of Wedgwood, but look, you showed us a home that no one else could show us today. If you can find us something else in Wedgwood, I think you know exactly what we're looking for. I'd be willing to, I want you to show me a home, get me a home. So I was very lucky that a friend of mine, a personal friend of mine on Facebook, announced that they had just purchased a home in New Albany. And of course, I was disappointed I wasn't in on that part of the deal, but I rang them up and I didn't actually know that she was renting the home. And I said, what are you doing with the Wedgwood home? And she goes, well, I was renting. I've gone, oh, great. Do you know what they're doing? And she goes, well, I'm not out till the 1st of August. So I've still another 3 weeks paying rent, but I actually sort of have started moving out. And so she put me in touch with the owner. And the owner said, yeah, we're thinking about putting it on the market. If you can bring us a buyer, please do. So I said, I got a showing with the owner, not the renter, and went through the house myself. And I said, I firmly believe that they'll love this home. Showed them that home the next day. This all took about 5 days. Showed them the house the next day, and we were in contract on that home the next day. In doing that, I had a conversation with a couple of members of Wedgwood and spoke to them about this other home with 1.5 acres on a stream in Wedgwood. And one of them turned around and said, I think that'll be perfect for my daughter. I turned around and showed them that home the next day. And I was in contract on that home the next day. So not only did I give both sides of the primary one, but I did bring the buyer to the KW listing. So out of that one open house with one person in it, I turned $1.8 million of deals out of that home. And the daughter and son are now big advocates of mine because I was able to show them a home that wasn't even on the market. So that's where that inventory really does help you, that you can talk about other homes as the local expert. So that's where I always say, going and viewing at other homes before you do the open house is a necessity. And like admittedly 3 years ago, I wasn't even in the country. I didn't know much about real estate in Dublin. So the more homes you view and the more inventory you get in your head, the greater the chance you are of being able to make a connection. So that's where this flyer is an absolute necessity. This was a listing of ours in Wyandotte Woods. I just actually did this is the flyer that I do for the walkabout around the neighborhood. And I generally try to at least knock on 50 doors. If they're not home, I'll leave them in the door handle. What happened the other day with a home in McCammon Estates, I did a door knock around the neighbourhood. The next door neighbour took a screenshot of this and gave it to his friend, and his friend actually called me on the Saturday when I was doing the open house and said, Ash, my best friend lives next door. He's given me your flyer that you put in the door. My wife and I are extremely keen to have a look at the home. And if we do like the home, we'd like you to represent us on the buy side. And I've gone, oh, wow, okay, come on into the open house. So they came into the open house. Wife absolutely loved the home. I got them in contract for $20,000 over asking price. They're absolutely static with the home. The next door neighbours are static. Then he wasn't going to sell his home, but the wife didn't want to be a landlord. So he then calls me the next day and says, Ash, I've got a home worth about $400,000. We love your technique and your strategies of doing the open house and everything from what you talk to us. Because when you talk to people in an open house, you change your talk to whether they're going to be a buyer or a seller. Because especially if they've got a home to list, you want to really show that you've got the marketing and the strategies as a full-time agent that other agents don't have, and you go to the front of the list. So anyway, Barbara and I went around and did a listing presentation to him the following day, and we listed his home for $400,000, sold it for $443,000 out of the open house on the weekend. So out of that one open house, I got both sides of 535 and a listing for 440. So there was another 1.5 million out of an open house. And it all does come to presentation, strategies, and being the local expert. And mind you, like when I'm in an open house, if I understand that they're not going to like this open house, that's where that inventory is a big bonus, because you can start talking about other homes or office exclusive homes that are coming up, and they're going to see that you add value to their search. So that's where this flyer has worked enormously for me. I don't know when.
Can I ask you one question?
Yes, Jennifer.
With the office exclusive, I mean, I know what they are, and I know I see them sometimes like on our Facebook page. Is there a place where there's a list of them, or you just have to dig through?
There is a list. It's on Google. Katie may be able to assist us with where it actually is. Katie,
and I can follow up afterwards. I just wanted to know, because I agree with you that is a good tactic, but to have a current list would be helpful.
Correct.
I'll find it. I'm glad to know.
I know when I first 3 years ago, there was a lot of homes on the office exclusives. I looked today, there was only 2 on there. So unfortunately, with the low inventory on MLS, there's a low inventory on office exclusives, but don't stop that from using that as a conversation piece, because
no, I agree.
You can say, look, I've got my 300 agents. I looked this morning, there isn't anything there, but I've got an agent that I spoke to during the week, and he was talking about a possible listing that he was going for an appointment on. I'll follow up that with you. So it's all to do with having the touches with the person and showing that you're going to go that extra step further, instead of just setting up a search or whatnot. So on the Thursday, it's a big day, the Thursday, because obviously when you're working, I work on Saturdays and Sundays, start at 8 a.m. and it just depends how busy to when I finish. As you know, when you're full-time in real estate, sometimes you can still be working at 11 o'clock at night on a Saturday, because that's a money day. So on the Thursday, I do a lot of prep. So on the Thursday, I do a total market overview around the open house. I do a social media day. So I always post something up about my open houses on the weekend. I've picked up a great listing of a friend who I play golf with. He saw all the work I was doing, and he came up to the golf tee, the driving range tee, and apologized that he'd listed with another agent. And I said, that's fine. I said, there's 8,000 agents out there, I understand. I said, he goes, but geez, I see all the hard work you do. I'd love you to bring me a buyer. I said, yeah, I'll certainly try. And 2 months later, he comes back to me, he goes, Ash, I've seen all the work you're continuing to do. My agent doesn't want to do an open house. He says they don't work. I'm going to fire him because that's just not working. And I want to interview you to list my home. And I said, doing the right thing, I said, well, shoot me an email or text to say that you're inviting me in to list your home. I said, I need confirmation of that because I don't want to be breaking any laws. And he shot me a text straight away. So that was by putting that up on your Facebook page. And it's so much what Greg Erlinger taught the class last week. That's putting things on the internet up there. It's all free, especially when you're just putting a post up about an open house. It's just great awareness to your friends. So anyway, I got in there. We listed it for 600,000, and I did an open house on a Wednesday. That was 30 days later. Did an open house on the Wednesday. We've got 2 people through. One was already represented by a realtor, the other one wasn't. And in contract, first day, $600,000, when the other fellow hadn't done anything for 60 days. As a result, that seller was overawed. He said, wonderful. He goes, I've got a referral there for life. That other person that came into the open house listed the home with me. They had a home in Sherman Lakes. I would never have met this person if I didn't do a Wednesday open house. I do prefer to do Saturdays and Sundays and try and generate as many people coming through. But that open house, I then got their listing of their home for $500,000. So that's where it evolves. And especially the more you can sell yourself, the more you can show that you're a local expert. That open house on their home was the first one I did on the backside of the pandemic starting. That open house I did on their home, I then generated just the one I sold, pretty well 3 I sold in Lewis Centre in the last month, all came from that open house. That was 12 months ago. So that's where it's important with the follow-up. I always, if they're not in the market to buy a home or not in the market to sell, I always like to just get them on a smart plan, a drip campaign with the MLS. If they're selling a home, I always just put their subdivision on, and I have the conversation with them and I say, look, I'd love to just give you information once a week. You know how our parents had the newspaper on the table, breakfast table on a Friday morning and Saturday morning, we'd flick through the real estate section. What I want to do is just, if it's okay with you, I'll send an email to you on a Friday, all the information about your subdivision and your local area. And it's only going to turn up once a week. And if ever you have any questions on it, please shoot me an email, shoot me a text. I'd love to assist you, but I understand you're 12 months out. I haven't had anyone turn that down. Everyone just loves the idea of you're not going to go hard on them. You just give it to them once a week. But the thing about it is your branding. So getting back to that 3-point, the farming, the branding, and the open houses, they all work together. So the more you get your name in front of them, they're going to get used to looking at you every Friday morning. Who are they going to ask? All of a sudden, if they do have friends that are realtors, well, they're not in front of them every Friday. You are. So that's part of the branding. So that's where the social media, if I hadn't been posting that up, I would never have got that $600,000 listing. And you see how one turns into another and turns into another. It is a Gary Keller thing that believes that for every listing you have, it should at least generate one strong lead. And I subscribe to that theory, but at the same time, it's how hard you work as well. So that's where this is an evolving 2-week process. So there we go. I do the door knock with a 2-sided flyer. getting back to that, I like to advertise. Oh, okay, I've gone Friday. I like to advertise when my open house is. I think it's important that you come to some doors where it says no soliciting. I don't knock on the door. I just put the paper in, and if anyone ever, and I have had say, oh, I've got no soliciting. I said, look, I'm actually not soliciting anything. I'm wanting to provide you with information because I've got an open house on Saturday that I believe will be busy. And in case you've got any children, I wanted you to be careful of any extra traffic that's in the area. So you're once again, you're just providing information. So that's where you want to do it. So then on the Friday, that's my free day. That's my day I come up for air. It is catch up with anything that's happening during the week. I show my buyers homes because when I was originally doing 4 open houses on a weekend, wow, I'd try to do all my showings on a Friday afternoon, because when you do 11 to 1 and 2 to 4, you're not leaving much room to show buyers. So merely the market at the moment, it is a little bit different, but that's where Friday is my free day to go and pamper myself as I wish. So that's week 1. So on the Saturday, on the Friday, I will actually, even sometimes on the Thursday, I'll go and put my signs, my open house signs on the corners. And I always make sure that I've got the correct rider in the slot out the front. Because when you put the open house signs out on main roads, you want people to think, oh, there could be an open house now, let's go and have a look. Well, when they get there, they can see that it's a Saturday 11 to 1 or Sunday 2 to 4. So they'll come back. Or I'll get your number. So I've even had phone calls off, especially when you get on busy roads like Riverside and everything like that, to put your name out there. I've had the members of my country club turn around to me and say, oh, Ash, I see where you're selling a home in Lewis Centre. What's it like? They don't live in that subdivision, but they've seen my sign out on the main road. So when you can have those conversations with people, it all comes to do with branding. You'll see where I do a few things a little bit different. So this is your sign-in form. It's straight into Command, and it goes straight into your database. Yeah, I like to have the tape measure. People always want to know what size this, what size that. They love it when you've got one sitting there. The hand sanitizer, yeah, definitely at the moment with everything that's going around, the hand sanitizer. So that's my setup, and that's the database. For me to get them to sign in, my script I usually go is the homeowner has requested everyone sign in for security reasons. It's rare that I have someone not sign in, very rare. And look, if they're that stubborn about not signing in, you know you're not going to be working with them. So, okay, we just move on. The other thing I like to have is a torch. You'll see down there. For people who like to use that, especially if they're in the basement and they want to have a look up in the ceiling and it's not brightly lit. So, oh, sorry, torch, flashlight, sorry.
Okay. So, I was getting it. I was almost there.
I saw you leaning forward. So yeah, flashlight, because yeah, people want to have a look at the basements and they want to have a look in crawl spaces and everything. If it's not well lit, once again, you're showing that you're prepared and putting your best foot forward. So many people are appreciative when they ask for something obscure and you've got it. Oh wow, this person knows what they're doing. So
now, that stand, did you just get that stand like on Amazon or something?
Correct, yeah. $79, $89.
Okay.
One thing you will see here is, one thing I do is I do not hand out anything at the open house. No brochures, no nothing. I always went with the database, with them putting their email in, I always email everything to them. I feel as though that 2 hours that you're there doing your lead generation, first of all, you want to get as much information out of them and you want to be able to use it. So you can share the home snap sometimes if they want it immediately. I definitely pass the home snap from my mobile phone, or you can text them the MLS listing from your phone to their phone. So you've got a number of things if they definitely want it immediately. So what I do is sign out for both days. I leave my open house signs out on the road if I'm doing them the next day. As I say, change the rider so the owner doesn't get an unexpected knock on the door. Always give feedback to the listing agent within an hour of finishing the open house, because the keenness of the seller is always wanting feedback straight away. So I always do that within an hour. I text it. So generally, I'm sure that they just cut and paste and send it on to the homeowner. So I say how many, always say how many families attended, how many potential offers they're going to get, and any general feedback on the home. It's always helpful. And when you're doing that, especially if you're doing it as a single agent for someone else, that agent is going to appreciate it and come back to you and ask you again. And I was very lucky. I've got a few people that I do open houses for. Yeah, their assistant got in touch with me to do one out at Indian Creek. I'd never been to Indian Creek. And I said, yes. What I did for that, I did a whole lot of research on the Friday night. A lot of Indian Creek is septic and well water. And this home that I was doing is down in Russell's Point, and it was a public water and public sewer. Big advantage. And a big advantage for me to know what other homes are on the market and what they actually potential they have for a buyer. So I actually went and looked at went and looked on the MLS, looked at the pictures, looked deeply, went to the RPD, went and saw which ones were public sewer, which ones were well water, and everything like that. And I found two that I knew people traveling to Indian Lake would want to go and look at. And I had the positives and negatives for both of them. One was very nice, with the views were absolutely fantastic. It's probably the best views of Indian Lake. And that's what I said. I had 6 attendees, 3 from out of the area and 3 from in the area. And the 3 that were out of the area, they were all going to look at homes with the list agent. They weren't working with anyone. So I turned around to them and I said, oh, you're going to look at that one at Chautauqua, I bet. And they said, yes. And I said, great. I said, Jesus, I said, you're going to be gobsmacked by the views. I said, the views are to die for. They're the best in Indian Lake. I said, we're standing here in this kitchen. I said, when you have a look there, stand in the kitchen and just do a comparison of this kitchen to that one. I'd already seen the pictures and I knew the kitchen needed a lot of work. The kitchen that I was in was perfect. I then turned around to them and I said, did you know that's well water and aerated septic tank? Oh, no, we didn't. I said, yeah. I said, that comes with its own demons. I said, some people like it, some people don't. What are your opinion? And they said, we prefer it without. I said, that's good. I said, I'll be interested to know your opinion on that home when you've been through it. When are you going through? And they told me. And so I actually texted them about 2 hours after and said, oh, what did you think of that home at Chautauqua? And they turned around and they said, you were spot on, Ash. That kitchen needs a bit of the work, does need to be done inside the house, but the views are fantastic. We're coming back to your house to put in an offer. And I said, that's great. I said, you should already have all the information in your email box that I've sent you. And I'll show you what I do in a couple of minutes. And they said, yes, we have. Thanks very much for that. We're going to have a chat tonight and we'll get in contact with you tomorrow. I said, beautiful. Well, this was a $800,000 listing. I'm going, wow, I hope something happens here. So this is where you see here, feedback to listing agent and send the MLS listing and any additional information to all contacts and show your inventory homes. So that I didn't have any inventory homes, but I knew about the other homes. So in one way I did. So this is my branding. Being Australian, I put the green and gold out there. I put as many signs out on the main roads, capturing the eye with one sign, Yeah, but then when you put 2, 3 signs out, we all know that when we're driving up along somewhere and we can see 3 signs, we go, what's that sign all about? Well, great. They're just coming straight. They're bringing their eyes straight to the bright yellow and gold signs, open house. So then you see up the top here, I put that out on the Friday, and it says open Sunday 2 to 4. So beautiful. Anyone that drives, follows these signs, going to that home. Okay, we've got to be back on Sunday 2 to 4. So that's where I love putting those signs out early. That's, as I say, that comes back to branding and what Greg preaches. I really like that. This is the home snap. These are little things that you should have at your disposal when people talk about what schools are they, and that, well, we're not allowed to talk about schools, but this is on your home snap. So this is just a fact that you can share with them. And so that's the ratings of the schools. So that's on your home snap, which takes off the MLS. So you can even put into Nationwide Arena and a few things like that with it. But so that's handy to have once again for people when they say, what school district is it, or what's the local school? Majority know, but some that don't, when you can show them that straight away, bang, you're the local expert. Okay, so this is the email I follow up with. Okay, I always follow this up with the MLS information, like you'll see here. As discussed, I've attached the MLS information card for your viewing. I've also included further information on this property to assist with your decision process. Now I sell myself. Being a full-time 24/7 real estate agent allows you to have the daily representation you deserve. Would very much like to represent you in finding your next house if you wish to accept my application. Now, this is where I change this depending who I'm doing it for. This was someone on my team that I did it for. So being on the same team as the list agent, it is always clean and clear lines of communication in submitting your offer to be accepted. So I'm telling them, how often do we all know that you're trying to chase the list agent down to get information off them or anything like that? If you can say to that person, well, I know the person and I can get your offer accepted. Well, you may not, because you're in competition with everyone else, and but you've got to sell yourself. So that works wonders. I picked this open house was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I picked up a buyer out of that. Now, this is the extra information that I do. Our team, we have a questionnaire. Now, it's a 4-page questionnaire. Okay, it's a 4-page questionnaire. Then this is the comps that I sent them that show what is in the area and what the selling prices are and everything. Then you get emails back, like this is it. The vast information you sent us, very interesting, blah, blah, blah. So I'm now working with these people. So that's where to get the connection. It's just to get as much information. So what I do is I've got the comps in the area with the MLS listings. So I send that, then I send them a CMA 1 page. That is very helpful. They like that in that graph page. I send the RPD from the property so they can see. Everyone wants to know what's in the basement. Has there been any trouble? So I'm passing that information to them. And then also the questionnaire form. So that's also helpful. So I'm really showing that I'm bending over backwards for them. So there you go. That's how it comes back. On Tuesday, they sent that back to me. So beautiful. I'm working with these people. Okay, so on the Sunday, it's just the same as the Saturday. Feedback to list agent, and I like to send that MLS listing and additional information out that afternoon. I don't leave it a day or anything, because hey, you've got to strike while the iron is hot. So that's the important information. You're showing that you're the local expert once again. So then on the Monday, okay, so you've, as discussed before, through the command, you don't have to do any extra secondary work with those leads. They actually already in command. Sometimes if I know the address, or when you know that someone lives in the area, I'll email or handwrite a note thanking them for their attendance. and wanting to let them know that if they have any real estate questions, please do not hesitate to ask. So that's more around the trying to get listings when you send the thank you notes, and then the follow-up calls. As a result, you do the follow-up calls. If you're not doing the follow-up, you're not touching your database. So that's the important thing to do there. Okay, so then on the Tuesday, hopefully after you've had contact with them, or if you haven't, you add new clients to a smart plan or mail campaign. Then I also like to email the 10 commandments of finance, just so I get a touch. So this is what we call the 10 commandments of finance. So it's to let them know that don't do any of these things because it's going to change your financial picture, and you may not be pre-approved. Yes, the majority of that is just common sense, but wow, I think we've all had one or two people that have done something wrong since they've been pre-approved and their landscape for buying has changed. So I like to get that out on the Tuesday. Then on the Wednesday, as I say, this is a rotating 2-week period. So you follow up calls, and when you've got their email, especially if they haven't had a touch, send some similar homes of interest out to them with good questions. Have you seen these or anything like that? Thursday follow-up calls, Friday, once again, Saturday, Sunday. Okay, so that's the actual format of the week 1, week 2 that I follow. I try to follow. It's always go back and have a look at this and say, what am I doing? Am I doing it? And I feel as though as long as I keep repetitive, it just becomes happy work for me. It's my whole lead generation is around the farming, the branding, and the open house, and they all work in together. If it's your listing, I like to first of all do a card presentation, send it out to them, everyone in the area, and then secondly, go and door knock. keep in front of them, especially if you live in the neighbourhood. It's very easy to do that way. And when you're out there, especially, I always say it's best to do the door knocking at about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. People are coming home from work and they're walking their dog. Hi, how are you going? If they know that you're the local person in the area, they're going to stop and have a chat to you. Oh, well, I saw you sold that. Well, how did it go? You can tell them a story. That's always a great way to generate business, is telling a story. People always want to know, and even get their email address and say, oh, look, I'd love to give you a general overview of and have that conversation. We don't have newspapers like we used to, but I'd like to just drop you an email once a week, if that's okay with you. As I say, I can't remember anyone turning me down on that. So then they become a contact for you. Okay. So that's pretty well everything there. Any questions there, Jennifer, or do you think is there anything I didn't add to it?
It's been great information, and I have watched your other videos, so I appreciate it. And I enjoy doing the open houses. So if you ever get overbooked on your open houses, give me a call.
No problem. No problem.
You know, one thing, like when I've done some for other agents too, you know, I always like, and I think you said it probably in the very beginning, provide a list
Sorry,
of
Jennifer.
even the ones I'm going to go work on. Is that kind of the common, or what you should do? Like I'll provide a list of everybody who came in. These people didn't have agents, and I'm going to go chase them.
Yep, sorry. You froze up there a minute.
Oh, I was saying that one of my questions is, if you work with the other agents and say, you know, thank you, Ash, for letting me do your open house, I provide the list of people who came through, and I call out the ones that I'm going to work with or call on because they didn't have anybody. But then I provide the names of people who are maybe working with the agent. And if I got the agent's name, here, you can go chase them and see if you can work something out. Now, obviously you're using your the iPad, which I like, but is that kind of a standard, just to be transparent and full disclosure? Here's everybody who came in. and I'm going to go ahead and work with these names.
Yeah, so what I do is I never ask an attendee if they're working with an agent.
Okay.
I want to show that I want to show that I'm the local expert, and I just go forward. At the end, generally if they're working closely with an agent, they will say something during the process, and I always ask, all right, what's the agent's name? And yes, then I will pass that on to the list agent, that these people, especially if they're keen. If they're not keen, there's not much use to it. But if they're keen, I pass it on, because I feel as though everyone that comes into that open house is your lead. And yeah, as you know, especially in today's market, I'm finding it more today than my first 3 years, that buyers really don't care who they work with. Some have an affiliation with someone, but if you can show that you can get them into contract, that's half the battle.
Right.
And that's where I turn around, and when I'm talking to people, I talk about different phrases that I use in contracts to get them accepted. Like, have you ever heard of a reverse escalation clause? No one says, I know what that means. And then I can tell them something that, wow, okay. And it works. All of a sudden, they start working with you, because and that's where I put in that 24/7 full-time real estate agent.
Yes, that's important.
Because when you can be on call for them, as opposed to someone that's a relative that may give them a cut in their commission or something like that, well, they send them through the open houses. Well, they're not being properly represented, are they? So you've got the chance to be that person. And yeah, I sometimes know after the deal, they'll turn around to me and they say, oh, Ash, wow, thanks for getting us into contract. We didn't want to tell you, but we sort of had been shown some homes by another realtor, but you showed us homes that they couldn't do, and you were there to drop out a hat for us. So yeah, buyers are a bit cagey, but that's where I feel as though if I'm putting my best foot forward all the time, so be it. Yeah, that's what being that full-time agent, telling your story. People love stories. So I may be a little bit lucky with my accent as well, but as far as that,
part of your brand.
yeah, exactly. And that's where on my open house signs, worked with Troy Marsh, and I said to him, do they have to be red and black? He goes, no, your colors can be whatever color you want, and green and gold is the color of Australia for sporting. So I thought, beautiful, and they stick out. So yeah, it's part of the branding, correct. So as far as that goes, but yeah, just the more stories you tell, always talk positive stories and everything like that. I even love those NAR graphs that they have of what the market is at the time. Sometimes if that's just recently been presented, I'll send that out with my emails after the open house to the attendees and whatnot. No other agent is sending that to them.
Right.
So yeah, just any and all information, as though vast information. So I feel as though you've got one chance to get them, and if you can show that you're that 24/7 agent that's the local expert, go and look at those homes that are similar to yours in the same price range, in the same schooling system before the open house.
Yeah,
you can talk about them, and that's actually that one for Clifton Court. I actually did preview that for another open house I was doing in Wedgwood, and you leave your business cards there, and that didn't sell in 6 months' time, and the buyer, the seller, actually rang me and said, Ash, I'd like to interview you for listing my home because it didn't sell in the 6 months with that owner. And I've gone, yeah, okay. So Barbara and I went around and did a listing presentation, and in contract with the list within it was 2 weeks later, we were in contract, and we sold that that was 2 years ago, 2 and a bit years ago. We sold that in 42 days.
Mhm.
When the other agent hadn't sold it in 180 days. And I did an open house every weekend, 2 every weekend on that. I did a Saturday and a Sunday for 2 hours.
So are you doing, and I saw you're scheduled to do 4 if you can. Are you generally trying to do 4 different ones? Or are you doing like the same house on Saturday and then Sunday?
I definitely do my own listings both days. When it comes to just working the schedule, it just depends however it falls.
Okay.
But yeah, I like to, if I've got a listing and the people are on board with open houses, yeah, I turn around to say, I'll do an open house on your home every Saturday and Sunday until it sells.
Okay.
You know you've got them.
Right.
They go, wow,
Yeah.
no other agent is going to do that for me. And I've got a few sayings that, look, if I'm not, as an agent, if I'm not opening the door for 2 hours on a Saturday and 2 hours on a Sunday, that door isn't open to get a offer for you. So you do want to have the open homes. And then I bring stats like I did a open house about a month ago now. I did the door knock. It was my own listing. It was listed for $515,000 in Lewis Centre. I did the door knock in the area to 80 different homes. There was no showings until the open house at 11 o'clock on a Saturday morning. And I did the open house from 11 to 1. I got 51 parties through, 51 families. Right. I then had 8 showings after. So my selling the open houses is, what do you think you're going to get your maximum price out of? 59 people coming through with a small inconvenience on one day, or maybe 59 people coming through over 5 or 6 days, which is a big inconvenience to you. Because if you don't have an open house to get 59 viewings, you're going to be out of the home a lot of times, a lot of hours.
Right.
So, and that went into contract the following day. I did open house on the Sunday as well, and we were in contract at 6 o'clock that night on the Sunday. And the people actually were very nice. They actually just went away for the weekend. They just went away for a Saturday night, and I had it arranged that they left before 11 o'clock on a Saturday, and they came back after the last showing at 6 o'clock on a Sunday. So they were really only going for one night, and their home got full exposure. And that's where, in selling yourself and saying that I'm not just an agent that wants to put a sign in a yard and hope the offers come in. No, I'm going to work my ass off to get that maximum offer for you. And 59 showings in one day shows I'm prepared to do it.
Well, that's helpful. Well, thank you so much.
No problem, Jennifer.
I'll keep you posted as to the schedule and how I do.
Beautiful. I'd love to hear it. And if you want to reach out at any time, I'm only a phone call away.
All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Bye.